മാരാമൺ കൺവെൻഷൻ മാർത്തോമാ സഭയുടെ കറവപ്പശു. ഒരു മാർത്തോമക്കാരന്റെ പ്രതികരണം. മാരാമൺ കൺവെൻഷൻ ഇപ്പോൾ വന്ന് മാർത്തോമാ സഭയുടെ ഒരു കറവപ്പശുവായി മാറിയെന്ന് അഭിപ്രായപ്പെടുകയാണ് ഒരു മാർത്തോമാ സഭാ വിശ്വാസി തന്നെ. എക്യൂബിനിസത്തിന്റെ പേരിൽ മണൽ കൊള്ളക്കാരനെയും കൊലപാതകളെയും ഒക്കെ വിളിച്ച് കൺവെൻഷനിൽ മുഖ്യസ്ഥാനം നൽകുന്ന സഭാ നേതൃത്വത്തിന്റെ ഉദ്ദേശശുദ്ധിയെയും അദ്ദേഹം ചോദ്യം ചെയ്യുന്നു. സഭയുടെ നിലവിലുള്ള മൂല്യച്യുതിയുടെ കാരണങ്ങളും അദ്ദേഹം അപഗ്രഥിക്കുന്നു. വിശ്വാസികളുടെ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നും ഇത്തരം പ്രതികരണങ്ങൾ ലഭിക്കുമ്പോൾ i2i ന്യൂസിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വളരെയേറെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. കാരണം ഞങ്ങൾ ലക്ഷ്യം വെച്ചതും ഇതുതന്നെയാണ്. സഭകളിലെ മൂല്യച്യുതികളെക്കുറിച്ചും പുഴുക്കുത്തുകളെക്കുറിച്ചും ഞങ്ങൾ വാർത്തകൾ നൽകുന്നതിൻ്റെ ഉദ്ദേശം വിശ്വാസികൾ യാഥാർത്ഥ്യങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നതിനും ചിന്താശേഷിയുള്ള വിശ്വാസികളെ അകറ്റി നിർത്തി മൊണ്ണകളായവരെ ചേർത്ത് നിർത്തി സഭാ നേതൃത്വങ്ങൾ നടത്തുന്ന തട്ടിപ്പുകൾ സഭകളെ നാശത്തിലേക്ക് നയിക്കുമെന്ന് വിശ്വാസികളെ ബോധ്യമാക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ്. നേർച്ചയും ദശാംശവും നൽകൽ മാത്രമാണ് തങ്ങളുടെ പണിയെന്ന് കരുതിയിരുന്ന വിശ്വാസികൾ ഇന്ന് ചിന്തിച്ചു തുടങ്ങിയിരിക്കുന്നു. തെറ്റുകളോട് അവർ ധൈര്യമായി പ്രതികരിച്ചു തുടങ്ങിയിരിക്കുന്നു. എന്തിന്, കുപ്പായം പോലും വലിച്ചെറിഞ്ഞ് പുറത്തു വന്ന മുൻ വൈദികർ പോലും ധൈര്യപൂർവ്വം പ്രതികരണങ്ങളുമായി മുന്നോട്ട് വരുന്നു. ഇത് തന്നെയാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ആഗ്രഹിച്ചതും. വിശ്വാസികൾ ഉണരുക, ചൂഷണം തിരിച്ചറിയുക. വിശ്വാസിയുടെ പ്രതികരണത്തിലേക്ക്.
As regards the Maramman Convention, it is a money-making machine. Gone are the days when a spirit of religiosity and fervor pervaded the convention. Now it is only a marketing ploy. It is a cash cow for the Marthoma Church, and one does not know where and how the money is spent or how it is accounted. The kind of ecclesiastical ecumenism displayed by the Marthoma Metropolitan by inviting a bishop from another denomination who has been mired in environmental degradation cases and who has enriched himself. This sets a bad precedent. It is impossible to believe that the Marthoma Church hierarchy did not know the antecedents of this bishop who was invited for inaugurating the ecumenical meet. I mean, what is it? I mean, is it a normal routine? Is it a normal practice to hold the convention every year? Is it necessary? When the basic spirit of holding a convention has been lost, what is the purpose in making this annual exercise, if not only for reaping money from the gullible laity who come to listen to these so-called speeches? Hello Sunil, this is my response to the video that you have put up regarding the Maramman Convention. The problem with the Marthoma Church started with the reign of Joseph Marthoma, but the progress on the spiritual and intellectual front stopped with Alexander Marthoma. Joseph Marthoma ushered in a reign of corruption, nepotism, and practices where he shielded priests who were caught in malpractices and sexual irregularities. The problem with the Marthoma Church, which took pride in being a reformist church, began with the concept of priesthood. The kind of people who joined the Marthoma Theological Seminary in Kottayam have God and Christ farthest from their mind. They have no inclination to serve people. The priesthood is 100% inflation neutral job. A person who goes to the US, UK, Europe or the Gulf countries as a priest will amass nothing less than 3 crores after his 3-year tenure. The priests today, those who call themselves priests, have learned the art of diplomacy and do not stand up and confront situations where they are supposed to act as per their conscience. The Mandalam is the Lok Sabha of the Marthoma Sabha. It is a place where both priests and laity are supposed to confront and tackle issues that afflict the Marthoma Church. But nothing of the kind happens. There are priests who have served for 35 to 40 years but have never asked questions in the Mandalam. There are cases where priests who know things and who are aware of the fact that things are going wrong choose to look the other way. The problems that the Marthoma Church is facing now is because of a kind of complicity of the priests. They feel comfortable by not raising questions. In other words, they do not practice what they preach. If a priest does not confront the truth, how will he ever be able to face his audience and exhort them to follow the precepts and practices of Christ? I am the way, the truth, and the life, said Christ. So truth takes a center position between way and life. The priests who study theology and come out of the Marthoma Theological Seminary in Kottayam, they tend to teach or they tend to practice theology like abstract subjects. So for a priest, theology basically means going to church once in a week, saying a few prayers, attending a few meetings of Sevika Sangam or Youth League or cottage prayer meeting or fasting prayer meeting, and their job is done. They have no ways of interacting with the youth. They have no ways of relating to the youth. They have no ways of addressing the problems faced by the youth. They lack the intellect to formulate a response. They lack the capacity to resist issues that the Marthoma Church faces and confront the higher-ups. Because if they do that, they will be thrown in some place. Now comes the laity. Who are the laity? Who are the people who become members of the Mandalam? They are basically petty businessmen. They are people, most of them are either courier owners or travel agents or people who do petty jobs. These people have to have their fame in the sun. They need some kind of visibility in society. So by becoming a Mandalam member, they get the kind of prestige which they otherwise will not get. In the Marthoma Sabha Mandalam, these so-called specimens do not stand up and question the bishops. They neither have the intellect nor the courage to stand up and tackle issues. Had they done that, along with the priests, most of the problems would not have happened. Now comes the bishop. How does a person become a bishop in the Marthoma Church? I can speak only as a Marthomite because I am only familiar with that. By staying unmarried, he makes himself available as a candidate for the bishop. Bishops are supposed to practice abstinence. Here we have bishops who do not practice sexual abstinence, who are sexual predators, and in one case, one particular bishop was elevated to the post of suffragan metropolitan. Now, there are people, you will find there are Mandalam members also protesting about his innocence. If this man indeed were innocent, then the Marthoma Sabha would have put out a statement saying that there is nothing regarding this bishop. But I am given to understand that the late Joseph Marthoma actually asked a public prosecutor not to go ahead with the case. So, as long as the Marthoma Sabha does not have the spine or guts to issue a statement to the press that there is nothing wrong, they cannot say that this person is not involved in sexual crimes. Now, elevating him to the post of suffragan metropolitan under a pretext of forgiving and co-opting the guilty as per the precepts of Christianity is a crime. It is a crime, because if a man has committed a deviation, if he has committed a sin, he should first repent publicly. Why hasn't he not repented publicly of the fact that he has destroyed the lives of many people, including an estate manager of the Marthoma Church. He has done many crimes, and these crimes have been recorded and identified, and most people in the church are aware of it. But he continues to thrive, and there are people who are, sadly to say, supporting him. The problem, as one of my journalist friends said, is that we Syrian Christians lack the intellect. We claim to be educated, but our education is not worth the paper on which it is written. Because if you are intellectually inclined, you will stand for the truth. You will be able to stand up and ask questions in the Mandalam. You will be able to stand up and take and go to the courts if necessary. Some of the most educated people in the world are Syrian Christians, but they just put their heads down, they go to church, pray, and come home. Happily, there are a few signs. Your videos are an eye-opener to the people, and I hope that the younger, in the coming days, the laity will be more responsive. And we need to formulate rules for entry into the priesthood. We need to have exams that call for psychological profiling of candidates. There was a case where a person from the Mumbai diocese was admitted to the seminary, one of the seminaries, and he was honey trapped by a girl, and he flashed his private parts, and he was sent out. Now, how did this fellow get into the seminary? Who was the person supporting him? What are the restrictions placed on the entry of candidates? Do we ever think about it? So we need to restrict the entry of people by raising the bar on entry of candidates, so that only the best and the brightest and those who want to serve God, irrespective of the locations where they will be sent, are required or are inducted into the seminary. So, in sum, the Marthoma Church is now entering into a slough of despond or the pit of despair, to use phrases from John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. There is no light at the end of the horizon. It is darkness all around, and the present incumbent, the present metropolitan, is unable to take any action. Inaction is the worst form of complicity. Inaction is a crime. When the history of the Marthoma Church is written, it will be said that the priests and the bishops, they looked the other way when crimes were committed, and they refused to speak. Thank you.
i2iNews, an eye for truth.